All right, so on to part 3. I got a pretty good amount of information to Megasquirt the car, but I want to not damage anything on first startup. Primarily the ignition output. I don't want to damage the power transistor inside the distributor, which is, everything is fixable. You get to the question about spark output inverted or no inverted. I don't know why I was always so confused by it. It's pretty simple. Once the Megasquirt is modded with my 5-volt pull-up resistor on the output, I am gonna turn the key on and have the distributor unplugged. Remember, the distributor has a power transistor in it, so I want to have this unplugged. And using my voltmeter at the 5-volt logic level coming from Megasquirt into the distributor, I'm gonna check what's at that wire. I'm gonna check for power, I'm gonna check for ground. I'm gonna see what I got with the key on. Key on. If, this is my notes here. For example, stock power transistor needs 5 volts to trigger. So with a 5-volt pull-up resistor on MS, if I select yes, power inverted, I'm gonna get 5 volts key on. If I select no, it's gonna be logic low, grounded with key on. I do not want to have the igniter turned on with the key on. I want it turned off. So that means I want ground. I want it to be grounded. I don't want that transistor to be energized if I have the key on for whatever reason longer than a couple of seconds. So with key on, I was getting 5 volts at the distributor on this particular setup. Not all the same. Not all are going to be the same. But that's how you know. You finish your mods, turn the key on, and see what you're getting at your spark output. And you want to make sure that you are not energizing the power transistor. So that's how you set your spark output inverter, yes or no. This is my setup. MS&S. This is Megasquirt 1, so MS&S, everything else turned off. It's just basic setup right here. Spark and field control, but not running sequential, just running batch fire. So I got that. I think I'm just about ready to fire the car up at this point, right? So once I get fired up, I'm gonna be trying to keep it running. I'm gonna try to get this thing fully warmed up so I can get to the VE table and start making some changes. After I get a decent idle at warm-up, you're gonna have to let the car cool down again so you can play with the warm-up. And at this point, you would already have transferred your spark table, your ignition advanced table. These are the numbers you jotted down on a piece of paper, recorded with a video while you were driving with your scan tool. At this point, you already have this filled out. So if you can actually keep the car running decently well, then you're doing okay so far. You're gonna want to do your timing check. So in Megasquirt 1, it's done through here. Fixed angle, -T, and 10 uses the map. So anything other than -10 is what it's going to run at. So if you put this at 5, it's going to run at 5 degrees before top dead center. So you set it at 5, go check with the timing light. You want to set it at 7 or 8, go check with, you want to set it at 1 or 2 or 3, and you have marks for 1, 2, or 3, then you go check it. So I have marks for 5 and 10. So I put it at 5. And you go check it out. Make sure it lines up. If your base idle lines up, your base timing for idle lines up, and you have this correct, you should be ready for a drive. I ran into an issue with my trigger angle in addition. Everything seemed fine and idle. I went for a drive and the car ran like crap. Ended up being I was requiring too much trigger angle. What I ended up doing was clocking the distributor. So to make these numbers come down, it's this plus this. I needed 80 plus 45. And I wasn't able to advance the distributor manually. So I can bring this down to 80 plus 25 or plus 22.5. In order to bring this number down even more, I have to modify something on the distributor to get it to clock even more. I'm not going to go there. So far, I think this is working. So a little quick, let's run through some of the mods I did to the Megasquirt, and I'll explain them. The blue one and the green boards are going to require modification to pulse width modulate an idle valve, high current idle valve. And it's the same transistor. It's a PNP TIP 122. And it's heat sinked, but it's not supposed to touch metal. So it's got a plastic insulator with plastic screw. That's the modification. There's instructions online where to run the wires. With the blue board, it's usually mounted here on this heatsink. These are the old jumper wires that were attached to it. For the solenoid control of like a boost control or VVT, I needed to add this ZTX 688B, which was enough to directly power a solenoid. These little guys are strong enough to power a relay, but this more powerful transistor on the left can power a solenoid. I think my solenoid sucked down about an amp and a half. That there is for a spare analog, if I want to graph fuel pressure or something. So you can ignore that. That's probably my tachometer. It's probably my tachometer modification right there. So those are some of the board mods in this old school board right here. There's also some repair jobs. These old school boards don't like voltage spikes. So if you have a alternator issue, these guys don't like it. So I explained that. Maybe I'll make another video. We'll see. Cool.